Hey, what's going on, Dragon Ballers? Welcome back to another deck profile. This time we have an update on the channel's most popular deck profile, the SS4 Goku Lineage deck. First of all, I want to thank you guys so much for giving the original SS4 deck profile almost 4,500 views. That was just like blew me away. I never expected a deck like that to become so popular, and I'm so thankful for you guys to just have given us all those views and really given us your support. Thank you guys so much. With that being said, since it was the most popular deck on the channel, I definitely have been testing it and keeping up with it, and I really want to show you guys the version I've come up with up to date. I think this version's a lot stronger. I think this version's a little bit more fine-tuned to the meta, because the older version was built when set 4 was basically in speculation. We knew aggro was going to be strong, but this deck definitely has some choices that kind of fine-tune it to that a little bit, and a little more searchable tech. And I'll get into that when we get into the actual profile. So the leader, what it does, it's the Golden Great Ape Goku out of the structure deck. So on the unawakened side, it is the Golden Great Ape. Attack your opponent's leader, draw a card at 4 life, awaken, untap 2 energy. So you want to save that awaken for a really big tempo turn. So typically when you're going from like your 3 into your 4 swap, that's kind of when you want to hold off that awakening till. But yeah, super strong on the backside. When he does awaken, long odds Super Saiyan Force on Goku. Auto attack, draw a card. If your life is equal or less than your opponent's, which is actually very easy to pull off, especially when you're both at like 4 life, this card gains 5k power and critical during your turn. You just put an insane amount of pressure on the opponent's leader with that critical and that big attack, that 20k. You just drop another 5k into it, and your opponent has to drop at least 2 cards to save their life from a critical. So really solid there. You're going to notice I'm not playing the ×10 Kamehameha. Realistically, it just couldn't fit in the deck, and we really don't want to clunk the deck with 10k combos. We're already at about 7 10k combos, I believe, and that's kind of already a bit high. Like I like to keep it like 6 or lower, but this is like a boss monster oriented deck, so we do have to cut some slack there. But yeah, that ×10 Kamehameha, the double strike crit is nice, but unfortunately in this build I was unable to fit it. So we'll get into the main deck. So previously I was playing 2 Scientist Fu, and you can definitely play the 2 Scientist Fu if you'd like. I've been trying out Time Short Supreme Out of Time. This card is potentially the best overall card that doesn't require you to tap any energy. The fact that you can see 3 deep into your deck for any swap piece you're missing is really strong. Especially when like just Successor alone doesn't get you there, or if you have to grab some of your ones that you can't search, like your full power charge Bardock or your Heightened Mastery Son Goku. And it just threatens an awakened leader. So I've really been liking it. I like to save my energy more for the swap plays, because we are playing a yellow leader. We don't have that much access to energy manipulation outside our leader awakening. So I really do like this card as the overall tech of the deck. But you can definitely go back to playing the Scientist Fu if you find you need like a bigger finisher. But this deck definitely does not run short on finishers. Then we have the Force Successor Hope. Amazing card in the deck. Free search for almost any piece you need. The only things it does not search, as far as your swap pieces go, are the Power Charge Bardock and the Heightened Mastery Son Goku and the Goku Jr. Secret Rare. So it's so OP that this card searches a super combo. It's so amazing. It really is solid. It gives this deck a huge edge when it needs it. So really good card. Then we have the 4 Bardock the Progenitor. I really like this card at 4. Some like pure swap builds will play 3 Bardock and 2 Gohan, 2 Grandpa Gohan. I really like the 4 Bardock because it can put pressure on a opponent's leader, and the fact that it gets you closer to awakening. You really don't have any access to awakening outside this card, except for your 5-drop Goku. But you really aren't relying on that to awaken. You're more relying on Bardock to awaken and get your ladder started. Then we have the 4 Instant Transmission. This card's a really strong negate in the deck because you can use it even when you're tapped out. You're making big plays in this deck, and a lot of times you will end up tapped out. And Instant Transmission is really clutch for those situations, especially when they're trying to when a deck like Harudegarn or Trunks aggro, something like that, is trying to put you from 5 to 3. Instant Transmission is really clutch because it'll negate that attack, and then it'll put you at that nice even 4 life. And it's a lot easier to defend yourself at 4 life. You feel just a lot more safe and comfortable there at 4 life. So really good negate for the deck. Then we have 4 Flying Nimbus. It's one of the best cards against the aggro format right now. This card is incredibly strong. I do believe it's still going to be an incredibly strong card even when we move into the Flute to 1 meta. just because even with food at 1, the deck can still put out a crazy number of attacks. So Flying Nimbus, just to buy you a turn where you don't have to worry about getting rushed all the way down to a really low life total, is really, really good. Then we are playing the 2 Shugesh. So this is the thing with Shugesh right now. A lot of people are taking Cronoa out of the sideboard. Some people are actually speculating that Shugesh is going to make like a resurgence into the metagame because of this. And, you know, it's kind of like hedging your bets, right? So I really like the 2-2 split on Shugesh when I'm playing a yellow leader that utilizes a Saiyan main deck. I think the risk is well worth the reward because your pans are so searchable by your successors. The 2 Shugesh is really worth it because when you do see it and you haven't gotten Cronoa'd, your plays just your ceiling just goes through the freaking roof. Like dropping your 3-drop to blow up a card and then being able to swap into your 4-drop for only 2 energy. A 2 energy draw 2 is really, really crazy. So the 2 Shugesh, in my opinion, is 100% worth it. You can definitely cut it down to 0 or 1 maybe and play more pans, but I really, really like the Shugesh. Then we have the 4 Intrepid Dynasty Son Gohan. This card's really, really good at being your 2-drop swap target because it does have barrier. I really, really prefer this over the 15k Goku just because of the fact that it has barrier. The only one that doesn't have barrier realistically in the deck that goes up the ladder is the Ultimate Potential Super Saiyan Gohan, but I'll talk about that when we get there. There's a reason I don't mind it not having barrier, but having barrier on your swap pieces is really important so that your chain does not get interrupted. Then we have the 4 Gin Family of Justice. This is more defense in the deck, and it's more defense that allows you to play tapped out if you have to. So when you drop your Bardock on the field, you can just drop as many Gins from your hand as physically possible. Having that blocker can really, really give these flute decks a headache or these aggro decks a headache. And when flute does go to 1, the play to flute a blocker back to your opponent's hand is going to be way less popular, which makes these cards actually way more valuable in defending your life total. It essentially becomes a 1-card defend your life instead of like if your opponent attacks you and starts comboing like crazy. You know, you have to waste like 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cards to defend your life. So these free blockers are going to be really key, especially after flute goes to 1. Then we have the 4 Power Charge Bardock. So this card does interrupt your swap ladder, and I don't play the Assault Goten because when you do attack with it, you will get a card off of it, so it will replace itself. But it's just so vulnerable to dying, and we're not playing a rush deck, so we're not going to get maximum value off dropping multiple Gotens in a turn. So if I'm going to stop my ladder, it's going to be for Power Charge Bardock, and that's because this card is very, very valuable. You either turn it into a draw 1, you turn it into a double strike if you're pressuring lethal. So this card actually is a viable finisher in the deck. And against decks that kind of compress the game and rush you, this card is going to be a lot of times your biggest hitter. So this is going to be the top of your curve, and you don't really mind swapping out into this guy to finish out the game in those faster decks. It gives your deck a little bit more flexibility in terms of how fast it can start aggressing the opponent when you're playing in a rush matchup. Then we have the Ultimate Potential Super Saiyan 2 Son Gohan. The number one reason I play this card is because it pairs well with Shugesh. So it has that Explosive Spirit Son Goku-esque effect when you combo with Shugesh into play. Blow up any rested battle card. So any battle card does not have barrier, this will kill it. And if your opponent dumped their whole hand into it, and you summon this guy off Shugesh and kill it, that battle is immediately over. They literally wasted their whole hand. Now that we're out of a Shugesh dominant format, this is a much more unexpected combo. People aren't going to necessarily always be playing around it unless they're like really on the top tiers of the game. And it's really, really strong for that reason. Another reason is I really like that you can go from 2 swapping into 3 with a really, really impactful effect. So even if you're going just from your Kid Gohan here into this Teen Gohan, it comes in, pops a rested card. There is the risk that it does get blown up and ruins your ladder, but there are ways to play around that. If you know your opponent's playing some spot removal strategy, you can hold it off until you're ready to awaken, and that way you can still go into your 3-drop and into your 4-drop on the same turn. So really, really important there to try and protect your ladder, but also getting a meaningful effect off of the Son Gohan. Then we have the 2 Pan Super Combo. Like I said, incredibly crazy. This card searchable off of your Successor of Hope. Really, really solid card. You're never really going to use this to swap for the most part, but it's great that it's searchable. One of the best cards in the deck by far, the Adult Gohan. When you swap into it, you draw 2 cards. It just gives you the deck crazy value. 20k body is incredibly big, especially when you're going to swap into your swap 5s. You swing with this, it's really hard for them to combo out of it, and then you swap into your bigger drops for even more added pressure. Now we're getting into the boss monsters of the deck. So we have the 3 Super Saiyan Blue Goku at the Apex. This card a lot of times will end the game for you, especially if your opponent's at that 2 life. So it's a barrier 25k double strike, and when it comes into play, if your leader is Goku's Lineage, you blow up any battle card in the field. So if you're going to go for game with this, you'll probably blow up a blocker or anything that is going to give your opponent combo power. But it's also really nice that it has barrier, because if you do play a slower matchup, you get to go up into your big boss monster pieces and not really worry about this card getting destroyed. Then we are playing one of the Reborn Might Super Saiyan 4 Son Goku. So what this card does is activate main once per turn, choose one card from your life, add it to your hand, switch this card to active mode, and if you have 2 or less life, this card gains triple strike. So the reason we're playing this card at 1 is because it's a searchable finisher. It's searchable off your Successor of Hope, so 1 is really all you need. And if you're in that range where your opponent's at 3 life, and if they're tapped out, you know to go for this card, because it's immediately going to most likely win you the game. A 25k triple strike when your opponent's tapped out and you have all the 5Ks in the world to combo into it is incredibly hard for your opponent to combo out of, especially if you go from your Gohan and only tap 3 energy to play this card. You're going to have the access to combo your 10k combos as well. So this card is a searchable finisher for when you need it, and if you don't need it, it's a really nice looking energy. Then we have 3-headed Mastery Son Goku, our true boss monster of the deck. This card is an absolute devastator when it comes out onto the field. So when you swap into it for 4 energy, you can choose to tap down up to 3 of your opponent's things, whether it be energy or battle cards. It has Deflect, so Crusher Ball won't affect it, Cold Bloodless won't affect it, and your opponent also cannot activate counter Ectoplasm against it. Whoop-de-doo. And it also has Triple Strike Dual Attack. So when this card gets dropped, it is almost like auto win. It's a really solid boss monster for the deck. Really great finisher. When you get to it, you're most likely going to win. And then we are flexing on him. We are playing the secret rare from Colossal Warfare, the Goku Jr. So what this card does, it has Ultimate, so you can only run 1 copy of it in your deck. It has Triple Strike, and when this card attacks, look at up to 7 cards from top of your deck. Choose as many Goku's Lineage from among them as you like, and combo with them. Then shuffle your deck. If 5 or more of the cards you combo with using the skill have different names, choose up to 2 of your opponent's life cards and place them in the drop area. So that effect's not incredibly relevant. It can actually be relevant though if you are attacking this card for game, and if you happen to get negated and your opponent's only at 2 life, if you do happen to get that effect off, you will win the game that way. So that's really, really solid. But just the fact that it's a 40k triple striker is absolutely bonkers. It's another situation like where your opponent's tapped out, or if you know they don't have access to a negate for whatever reason, you can go with this card. It's a bigger triple striker than your other boss monster, and you get to combo more cards off the top of your deck. And you can hit those 10k combos, and you don't have to pay their energy cost, which is really, really solid. So it's a really good card. And once again, if you don't need it, or if you draw it too early, amazing looking energy. So guys, that's the updated Super Saiyan 4 Lineage deck profile. I think this build is a lot better than the original build. I think it's a lot better geared towards the meta. I think this deck has some really crazy plays, especially with your Leader Awakening, giving you access to more energy. So with that being said, that is the deck profile. Please do let me know what you guys think about it down in the comments below. I really want to know what you guys think about the deck. I'm really excited to see if this gets as popular as the other version of the deck we posted about a month and a half ago. So with that being said, my name is Joey. Please consider subscribing to Carlton TCG, and I will see you next time.